Hello, and welcome to the Website 101 podcast. I am Amanda Lutz, and I am the only one here today. That means that I am the one who is completely in control. Haha. So I get to talk about anything that I want. Finally, just me without those two. Usually with me are Mike Mella and Sean Smith, but like I said today, nope, it's just me. They've both got other things to do. They're both pulled away. Because it is just me here by myself talking on our Lunch Bytes, our YouTube live that happens on the first and third Wednesday of every month. I've actually had this idea to talk about in my head for a little while, to kind of pull it back to more of the Website 101 part of this podcast. Yes, we've been talking about a lot of interesting things lately. I don't know how much of it is actually useful or interesting to a new developer. And even quite frankly, I don't know how much today's topic is going to be that much interest, but I'm going to try it anyway. A lot of times novice developers are getting into making websites and they don't know the history. They don't know the background. They don't know everything that has happened to lead up to websites at this point in time. And quite frankly, they probably don't care, but I think that it's good to know a bit of where you've been so that you can make best decisions on where you are right now and what's happening. So today's episode is just going to be a really quick little history of the internet, of where it's been and how it's advanced. It's probably going to be a shorter episode today because, like I said, it's just me. And I have nobody to riff off of. So learn. Here's your chance to learn. Also, I have to apologize in advance. Sometimes my internet has been garbage lately, as you will have noticed if you've been coming to these Lunch Bites live during the last little while. So yeah, the internet. This is going to be before memes, before YouTube, before Google. Sorry, it's thinking, and I don't know. I'm going to pretend that the internet is still working. So yeah, the goal of this episode is to just give you a bit of a beginner-friendly timeline of the internet's rise and some of the early experiments, talking about, you may have heard of the dot bomb, which was a big issue in our internet history. In the very beginning, we had this network called ARPANET, which was developed by the US Department of Defense. And it was just an ability to connect a bunch of research computers together. And the very first message that they tried to send from one computer to another was supposed to be login, but all that got sent was LO, because after the first couple letters, the system crashed. That's all that could be sent. And this happened back in the super late 60s. So this was pre-Amanda. Email was invented in 1971. This guy, Ray Tomlinson, was the name that I found. He added the @ symbol so that you could actually send messages to specific people. So the takeaway is that the internet started as a way for scientists and researchers to share data and information. The modern internet that we used to know of it was basically happening in the 80s and in the early 90s. And a lot of technology started coming in, like TCP/IP, which was, quote, the rules of the road for how computers were going to talk to each other. In the mid-80s, the DNS was introduced, which would give us different domain names and different suffixes like .com, .org, .edu. Before the DNS happened, people just had to type raw IP addresses. And if you've ever tried to do that, you know what a hassle it is. It's typically 3 digits, dot 3 digits, dot 2 digits, dot 3 digits. And it's basically the same as think of it like a phone number. Of all of the contacts that you have in your address book right now, how many phone numbers do you actually use? Do you actually know? Probably not a lot. Typically, it's easier just to like go off of somebody's name because that's how we know all of these people. So it was sort of the same concept that happened with DNS. The first website that existed happened in 1991. And it was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. I think he was the one who started HTML. And the thing is, this website is still online, and I am just learning about this right now. I'm going to see if I can go there and maybe try to share it. Oh, this website. Here, let me share this one. Look, that's all it is. It's the home of the first website. From here, you can browse the first website. I guess this is what I want. Browse the first website using the inline browser simulator. Learn about the birth. I'm going to go see the first website. So that's all it was. Welcome to the World Wide Web. Pointers, just technology, bibliography, people, history, just different links to get to, different information. So as you can see, the first website was like, it was just text. It was just black text on a white background. There was really not a lot happening with it. But again, it was a way to share information between a bunch of people. In 1993, Mosaic launched the first browser. It was the first graphical web browser so that the website was usable for non-techies so that they could, go to maybe the McDonald's website and see when the McRib was coming back to their area. I don't even know if the McDonald's website ever had that. In 1994, Netscape was founded. And in 1995, Amazon and eBay launched. And also in 1995, Microsoft introduced Internet Explorer. There was a lot happening in the mid-90s. But you do have to remember that way back at this time, we internet users, were just working with dial-up modems. If you've ever heard the weird, I should have pre-planned this and maybe looked for a sound of an old school modem. You've definitely heard it. All of those older dinosaur developers out there are right now closing their eyes and nodding and thinking lovingly of what that noise used to sound like. And the mid-90s continued. More websites came up. Yahoo. Fun fact, the Yahoo website, yahoo.com, started as Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web. And that's all that these browsers, all these search engines did for a really long time, that it would just link to different websites. All of these sites were growing bigger and bigger and bigger. There was huge optimism about the web, especially when like online shopping started to become a thing. And therefore, there were massive investments in online businesses. Investors were just throwing money at any of these random ideas for the internet. They weren't even like fully fleshed out. They were just ideas of things that could be done. Probably one of the most popular examples was this website called pets.com. During a Super Bowl, they made like $1 million ad with a sock puppet mascot. And they were so popular and their stock prices kept going up, which meant that they got more investors coming in. These companies hadn't like actually made a profit yet, but on paper, they were evaluated to have a lot of value, which in turn made them more popular on paper and more investor money thrown at them. Everyone just thought that the internet was just going to make money instantly, that just by being online, things were going to be great. And then they started, I remember hearing stories of a lot of companies that would be paying their employees with stock options. And so there, a bunch of jokes came out. I remember The Simpsons made a joke about it one time, that just using this roll of stock options as toilet paper in the office, because that's all these stock options were good for. Just take as many as you want. They're unlimited for everybody. So the dot bomb happened in the early 2000s, and it was a huge reality hit. Finally, it was recognized that a lot of these companies just were not profitable, and they had really, really flimsy business models. The NASDAQ peaked and then crashed by about, this statistic that I have says that it crashed by 75% over 2 years. Like, this was a big financial hit. And so despite the collapse, giants like Amazon and eBay and Google, they all survived. And because a lot of their smaller competitors were gone, they probably thrived. They were able to stick around because of everyone else failing. I also remember at this time, before the dot bomb, there were a lot of people who were getting into development, not just web development, but any kind of development, because it was the career to have. People not interested in it. They didn't like it. They didn't want to do it, but it's just they thought that that's where the money was. And then when the dot bomb happened, yeah, lots of developers got laid off. Lots of companies shuttered and closed. But it also was a time of necessary adjustment and balance. People who didn't actually like doing development, maybe this was their chance to go and find something that they actually enjoyed doing. So, I mean, I got through the dot bomb era just fine. Probably the same with Mike and Sean. So yeah, during the dot bomb, over 500 trillion in market value was wiped out, and a bunch of companies just burned through cash without having their profit models. So yeah, the bubble burst taught the world that the internet is powerful, but that hype isn't enough. Like, does that sound familiar to some of the stuff that's happening right now? Meta, that's evaluated for billions of dollars. All of these AI companies that haven't turned a profit yet are burning through all of their resources and, destroying the environment. But investors keep putting money in. The stock market is heavily depending on all of these tech bros, on the tech oligarchy. So the bomb happened before, the bubble burst. It could definitely happen again. Anyway, after the dot bomb happened, so like the late 2000s up into the 2010s, it sort of moved from what they called Web 2.0. And the point of the Web 2.0 was to start to get things like user profiles and user-generated content. Think about sites like MySpace and GeoCities. Facebook was launched in 2004. So this Web 2.0, it was a shift from static websites to interactive social platforms. Think of blogging, think of Twitter that came out in 2006. And then smartphones also came out. The first iPhone was in 2007. The first Android phone was in 2008, which was the huge kickoff to mobile development, mobile websites. And now I think I read that in 2012, mobile traffic overtook desktop traffic. So I mean, from 2007 to 2012, that's not a lot of time. That's like math I can't do. 6 years before mobile traffic just completely exploded and took off. No, another fun fact, and again, I should have thought to look for this before, YouTube's first video is still online. It was called Meet Me at the Zoo. In fact, let me just do a quick little search for it right now. Meet Me at the Zoo. It was, yeah, looks like a 19-second video. Oh, pause. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to, have the audio for it. I just wanted to show you all this one here. So here is the Meet Me at the zoo. And this guy, I think, was one of the creators of YouTube, one of the founders, something like that. And so, yeah, it is just a 19-second video of, I think he took his family to the zoo. And here they are standing in front of the elephants. And that was the very first video on YouTube that happened in 2005. So that was the Web 2.0, which is sort of led up, like I said, from the 2010s to now. Today, there are billions of users online. The internet is in our pocket thanks to mobile devices. We've got cloud computing, we've got streaming, we've got artificial intelligence, and we also have the Internet of Things. Internet of Things would be any of those household appliances that need to connect to the internet for some reason, but also things like baby monitors and doorbells so that we can like watch what's going on like right from our couch because we're watching it on our phones. So yeah, this is sort of moving into the idea of Web 3.0. Some buzzwords that happen with 3.0 are blockchain, decentralized web. Even a lot of these concepts have already sort of fallen by the wayside. Nobody cares about NFTs anymore. Nobody is really talking about how great the blockchain was. Yeah, so the internet is always constantly evolving and changing and doing just, trying to branch out and become new and inventive things. The internet has always gone through the same type of cycle where we innovate, we hype, we crash, and then we rebuild. It's already happened a bunch of times, and it is absolutely going to happen again. The dot-com era shaped how we think about tech startups today, for better or for worse. The idea that a company could be worth billions of dollars without like having a physical product, I still think is a little bit crazy. Yeah. One of the cute little fun facts that I found was that one of the original servers, a server is just a computer, right? So one of the original servers that, people could use the internet to go and visit, because it just looks like a regular computer, they actually put a sign on it that said, "This is a server, do not turn off." I thought that was funny. You know what I mean? And now we've got these like huge monolith machines that are sitting in air-conditioned, temperature-controlled rooms. They're talking about putting servers in outer space to try to help keep them cool more efficiently. We've definitely come a long way, dear internet. But anyway, that is the basic overview, the basic really quick information that I wanted to share with our more, 101, our more novice listeners and viewers. That is all of the information I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here with me, even though it was, just me, nobody else. And that's it. Again, Website 101 podcast. We go live on the first and third Wednesday of every month using YouTube Live. Come join us then. Come join us over there. And in the meantime, if you're happy just listening to these podcasts as they come out, thank you so very much for joining. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave comments both on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Bye, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks.